Episode 181 of the TV Dudes podcast, recorded May 3rd, 2018. Imminent Extinction. Guys,
Grant,
we're live.
I have a theory that we've been live for 20 minutes and Grant's just seen how long we'd stand at the camera.
No, you guys were not on screen. I had a splash page, hopefully.
What about audio? Do we have audio streaming?
I believe the audio's coming
All right, so they can hear us.
We should be okay.
Hear us trying to do our thing.
I do hope that if anyone is tuning in and sees that they can't hear us, they'll let us know, and we will do like we did last time and scrap the video.
Yeah.
We will toss this into the ocean. Oh, jeez. Hey, folks, we are the TV Dudes. I'm Grant.
I'm Randy.
Kyle?
And yeah, we are trying out an experiment this time. So if you guys are listening to our audio podcast, understand that we might say some stuff that's referencing a video live stream that we're doing over on YouTube. We're doing it live. We're testing it out. It might not work, just like it hasn't worked in the past, but we're giving it a shot.
Hey,
You know what?
26th time is a charm.
TV Dudes, you know what it is? Not afraid to fail.
Not afraid to fail.
Not afraid to fail.
You know, it makes me wonder, maybe we should be.
Nope. No fear. Not afraid to fail.
No, that sounds like failure mentality. No way.
Folks, if you guys are tuning in to this, we are going to be discussing 3 shows this week. We're going to be talking about 2 shows on Hulu, Hard Sun and The Handmaid's Tale, which is returning for its 2nd season. And then we're also going to be talking about Westworld over on HBO, the 2nd episode of the 2nd season. And there will be spoilers.
Yes.
We should say that up front, so the one viewer that we might have even had is gone. People are like, spoilers, I ain't playing that game.
I know, I don't get the big deal. I love spoilers.
You do?
I love spoilers.
That-
as long as it's not Doctor Who.
That is definitely peculiar.
That one thing, if you spoil, I don't care if it's shitty Doctor Who either. You spoil a shitty, no, you're dead to me. Dead to me!
I have opinions about spoilers.
Oh, yes. Man,
Good ones or bad ones?
Randy, you and I, we could make a thing of that again. We could really go into like a full-on argument.
I'm happy to. Greg's not here anymore. I'm good with that argument now.
Wait, did Greg like spoilers?
No, Greg hated. Greg didn't care about spoilers and didn't think they were a thing.
Nice.
And arguing with him made me want to stab myself in the face because I could never get anywhere with him and he could never get anywhere with me. So we just had the same argument over and over and over again.
This is true. I mean, I feel like my opinions have evolved a little bit on this too, so I might be a little bit on a combative spectrum with you here.
Well, here's the important thing. What's important is Greg is not here, therefore I won. So he's not here he's not here to defend himself.
The winner is the last one sitting in the chair.
So I can say, without fear of contradiction, that I clearly won that argument because Greg's not here to say, no, you didn't.
Okay, well,
good stuff.
He's going to post right now about how he's right. He's right.
I don't feel comfortable arguing it, so I'll let that be. Folks, if you are watching us over on YouTube, you can go ahead and chat us with any thoughts that you have, and I will try to check that from time to time, but no guarantees. And if it's a little choppy, that might be due to our internet connection or something, so I don't know. Like I said, this is an experiment. We're seeing how this goes.
Not
And
afraid to fail.
If it's choppy, that must mean we're cutting up.
We're cutting that, right? We're cutting that?
Yeah, I actually just cropped Kyle from the entire thing. He's not on it. So
It's
I
just
think
like
his whole dance routine, no one has to deal with that. Yeah, okay, folks. So, like I said, we are going to be talking about those 3 shows this week. But we also want to say, if you want to help us out, please go to iTunes, give us a 5-star rating, write a little review. We will read that here on the show. Another way you can help us out is go to patreon.com/tvdudes. There you can make a per episode pledge. Give us $1 or $2 per episode. Nothing much, but that amounts to $4 a month. It's like less than getting a Starbucks coffee one day. And you guys go there every day. Don't worry.
Right. Well, don't go there and loiter.
Yeah. I was going to say, we are marginally less racist than Starbucks. We'll still misspell your name on the cup, though.
I'm gonna stick with not afraid to fail as our. I don't want to go with that as our. I don't think that's a good slogan for us.
Be not afraid to fail on slogans.
Less racist than Starbucks.
Less racist than Starbucks. I think let's workshop it.
I don't know. I'm on board.
I see you
either.
drop the marginally part. Are we not digging that?
Also, another thing that we want to note is that we are no longer a part of the Permanent Record Network.
That's right. Fuck those guys. We're out. Right? That's what you meant.
No.
Oh.
Because we just
You know what's
moved
funny?
over.
Can you say that again real quick? I just one more time.
Permanent Record?
Permanent record.
You missed it for old time's sake?
Well, I was like, we normally don't say it, but it's like, we're no longer part of the permanent record. Like,
Right?
we still got an opportunity to say
We
it.
need to do it sort of a mournful permanent record.
But, guys, hold up. We're only not a part of it because we just changed the name of it to Electric Sweater.
Electric sweater.
Electric sweater.
We're getting a mixed bag.
We're still workshopping it. We're still workshopping it.
My one from last week, I did steal from Eureka's Castle. I don't know if you guys remember that show.
That's what it was.
I learned it like I was driving home and I was like, oh shit, that was it. I learned it. What?
But new name for the network. We have new branding for our TV dudes. I changed our logo.
I saw that. Yeah, it's fancy.
So looks a little bit different. Still same corny TV humor.
Yeah,
We're gonna
same
have.
thing.
I like that we're
escaping
still in that
folks.
smaller aspect ratio.
Yeah, we might.
We're never going widescreen.
We're going to workshop some other slogans, like possibly marginally less racist than Starbucks. We're working it out. So we're making changes. We're making moves.
We should just name this episode "Workshopping It."
Workshopping it.
Seems appropriate for everything we're doing here. All right, so let's go ahead and jump on over to the news. Randy, what do we got?
We got a bunch of news. So let's go with the renewals first. There's quite a handful of renewals. So Handmaid's Tale, which we're going to talk about later. Season 3 has been officially ordered by HULU. So I guess that's doing all right. Westworld Season 3 has been officially renewed.
I mean, these ones, like, of
seemed
course
pretty
they were
obvious.
going to get
Yeah.
renewed, right?
Yeah. Less obvious, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is still going.
Wow.
And the Adrian Pasdar, who plays who's he? Glenn Talbot, which is a weird source, but I guess whoever talks about S.H.I.E.L.D. they'll talk to, says that there's going to be Infinity War tie-ins in the upcoming Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Interestingly, he says this even though he has not seen Infinity War yet. So I don't know how much
That's probably how they did their Winter Soldier tie-in.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much stock. He's like, yeah, we're going to tie into Infinity War. Whatever happens there, that'll be happening in our show.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is the personification of the Agent Coulson character. Like, this show won't die.
Yeah.
Will not die.
There's something just really sad about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Every time they so desperately want to be included in the MCU, and they always have a new cast member who's just like, oh yeah, I totally think that we're gonna have Thor drop by or something. It's not gonna happen.
I'm actually at this point. Yeah, I've transferred from angry at how bad it is to sad at what it could have been. Like looking at this and looking if they'd actually done these tie-ins well with the numerous Marvel movies. If they had decided to make something besides a shitty-ass NCIS MCU, we might have had a really good show. It's possible to do this show on this budget, even maybe with these people. But man, they cannot do it. And yeah, it's just it is the kid like chasing you down, want to be your friend.
Right.
Also, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like the vestigial organ of the MCU. It's like the appendix. Like it's just there. It's not doing any good because it might burst and ruin the whole thing.
Yeah, unless it starts getting really stanky, then we got to cut it out.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Okay. Also, Netflix Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt has not been renewed. Season 4 will be its final season. Which is too bad. I'm loath to trust Screen Rant on anything, of course. But they sort of seem to indicate that maybe the ratings aren't great, that it's like consistent but not consistently great. And that they just decided this was a good time to wrap it up, that they might do a TV movie to wrap it up like they're doing with Sense8, presumably with less orgies. Or maybe the same.
Hopefully
I don't know.
not.
I don't
Hopefully
know.
not.
Maybe that's how Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt ends. But yeah, I'm bummed about this. I really like Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. It is like the weird continuation of what I liked about 30 Rock. And I'm sad. It's kind of sad to see it go.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that show has probably hit its shelf life.
Yeah.
Like what does it need 7-8 seasons
Yes.
of that show? Why?
8 seasons. I don't know. Because I like Ellie Kemper.
So what character in the Marvel Universe is she going to be after the show's over?
Oh, that's a good question. Ellie Kemper could definitely go to the Marvel Universe for something.
She could be Squirrel Girl.
No.
Mm-hmm. I think she's going to be an obscure Guardians of the Galaxy character.
Yeah.
Like how they took Carrie Coon and just like made her Proxima Midnight, but like you couldn't really see the character.
I didn't know it was her because I didn't see. I saw the credits and I'm like, "What's she doing?" Oh, she's that character. Didn't know that. Seen the movie twice.
I saw.
They didn't even get like flesh out the character
No.
much.
Sorry, we'll talk about
She
this
was
later.
she was good in it though. I liked her, but yeah, because Carrie Coon's always great. But you're right, kind of lost in the makeup.
Yeah.
Anyway, Arrested Development season 4 remix is coming to Netflix. Like next week.
What the hell is that?
So they're gonna recut. Season 4 was people griped about it, and Mitch Hurwitz.
Dude, not next week. Like as of our recording.
Oh, you're right. It's like
it comes out tonight
it's
in
like-
like an hour.
Yeah, that's right. So people were complaining it was fragmented and nonlinear, and then nothing paid off because the actors' availability affected it. So like they couldn't have all the actors on the screen at the same time and that kind of thing. And so they're going to recut it so it's more like a traditional all the characters in every episode, and the storyline will sort of like flow better. I think it's a ballsy thing to do. There's a season 5 coming, and that's why they're sort of doing all this hype right now. It kind of made me want to go back and rewatch all of Arrested Development again. And I'm definitely going to rewatch the remix.
Oh, this is like when George Lucas did that with his movies.
Oh. Damn it, Kyle.
No.
Speaking of bad ideas, Roseanne's revival started off so strong for Netflix, so strong. And the ratings are dropping. It just experienced its lowest ratings to date this week.
Yeah, but like, what does that mean? Like, they're dropping, but their numbers are still gigantic.
Well, they started at 18.44 million viewers. They are currently at 10.42 million viewers, which does, yes, it sounds like a lot. But you remember, they lost almost half their audience in a few weeks.
Okay, but 18 million for a like hugely talked about like event. That's for their premiere, I'm sure.
Yeah. Oh, it's
But-
not a Netflix show; it's an ABC show. I keep forgetting that.
But if you look at
I
like
was wondering.
episode 3 or episode 4, I think that's like the measure of like what their long-standing audience is going to
Yeah.
be. And even then, it still seems like it's dipping a little bit. I think there's a lot of there's a lot of controversy around it that isn't necessarily positive. And when you strip away that and you don't want to watch the show just for the controversy, you're left with another tired multicam sitcom. I'm like, no, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm just happy to see it dropping because Roseanne's a terrible person. I don't want her to make any money.
Okay, fair.
You never hate Roseanne more than when you listen to Tom Arnold talk about her. You're like, I didn't like Roseanne, but like, oh no, that she's really awful. Cool.
Man, if somebody's making you side with Tom Arnold, they got to be pretty bad.
It's like,
I actually liked him more after hearing his Roseanne stories.
That's like Aliens versus Predator. Whoever loses, we lose. Whoever wins, we lose. Right? I don't know.
you're close.
It's all the same.
Yeah, it's
Whoever loses, we still lose too.
There's a lot of loss going on, guys.
I'm workshopping. I'm workshopping.
We're not afraid to
Aliens
fail.
versus Predator. Yeah.
Whoever loses, they lost.
Look, my idea for the gritty reboot, I'm going to call it Predators versus Aliens.
Okay.
Nobody's ever done it. What is it? Alphabet is really important.
You switched it.
I switched it.
Yeah.
You know
now
what?
It's PVA.
That's PV. That sounds dirty.
No. It
to
needs
the
to be
doctor.
Predators versus Alien.
Ooh,
Singular.
yeah. All Predators versus one
And
alien.
it's like we're rooting for the alien because he's like trying to say he's like Arnold in the first Predator.
And it's a cooking show.
That's the new thing.
It's like Chef. He just travels around.
Yeah, the alien is like a master chef, and the predators are all like novice chefs, and so they have to work in a team to defeat the alien, who is like a really great chef.
I'd love to say I wouldn't watch this. 'cause
You would
that's
watch
just
it.
ridiculous. I'd watch.
You would watch it.
hell out of that.
Netflix. that was Call Me for those of you who are listening. All right, Swamp Thing is getting a TV show. He's had a TV show in the past. This one will probably be a little bit better than that on the DC Universe Network. This is
what?
This is the BBC
Yeah,
streaming service they've been talking about. It's going to have the Young Justice season 3, which is a big thing. It's going to have the new Titans live action series. It's going to have a Harley Quinn animated series, and maybe a Metropolis TV show. It sounds like that one might be going.
Oh
for
my
retooling.
gosh, I know why they're doing that.
Why?
Because they have CW syndicated shows for days.
Oh, they've got not only that. Batman animated, Superman animated, Brave and the Bold, all that stuff.
shit.
Like, there's tons. But Young
Yeah.
Justice season 3, people will pay just for that. I will pay just for that.
Yeah, plus, Disney is going to roll out theirs, and it's going to have Marvel and Star
Yep.
Wars and everything. They
Yeah.
got to keep up.
So,
Wow.
but the Swamp Thing, the interesting thing is, it's produced by James Wan, and wouldn't surprise me if he directs the pilot episode. He sounds like he's heavily involved. Mark Verheyen from Smallville, Gary Dauberman from It, and Michael Clear from Lights Out are delivering the script. It is
Lights Out. Like, the one fan of Lights Out is Randy. So.
Is that, or is there a horror movie called Lights Out? That's what I was thinking it might be. I was thinking it might
a horror
not.
movie called Lights Out.
That's the thing. I don't think it's the Lights Out TV show. Nobody remembers that show.
Nobody but you.
Nobody but me. But it's a script to series order, which basically means the script is good. They'll put it to series order. We'll see. I'm curious. And of course, we all need more streaming networks to pay for.
Right.
You all saw this news about the Golden State Killer being caught. As a long. Did you see this? See all this news?
Oh yeah, I heard
Yeah.
all about it.
So Michelle McNamara, Patton Oswalt's recently deceased wife, was working on a book to sort of track this guy down. And
excuse me.
yes,
I think you mean Patton Oswalt, Michelle McNamara's husband.
yes, that is
Yeah.
actually true.
I think you mean former husband because she is dead.
Damn, Kyle.
Wait, I thought
And he
I
remarried.
thought that's what we were doing. This is a bit. Damn it! You guys always do this to me.
Kyle, you're a jerk.
Michelle McNamara is. I've never read her novel. She's supposed to be an excellent crime novelist. But she had done some research. She had basically researched this whole thing. It was like a trying to find the killer kind of thing, and they got him, which is kind of amazing. And they're going to
Yeah.
turn the book into an HBO series.
Yeah, I guess like HBO's been following around Patton doing this book tour.
Yeah.
During this whole thing, and
makes sense
while
that-
he's on the book tour, they found out.
Yeah.
and HBO was there filming it, so it's like even that moment was captured.
You make it sound so creepy. They've been following him around while he's on this book tour. Like he knows they're there.
They've been breathing in his
Yeah.
ear.
You know what this reminds me of
Yeah.
a little bit? The guy from Parks and Rec. He was like the sewage guy, like Sewage Dan or Sewage
Yeah,
Steve or
Harris
something.
Whittles.
Yeah, that guy had a blog where he was straight up investigating like a serial killer in Southern California.
What?
Yeah, just like in his free time.
I guess that's
Maybe
what
we're
you-
not thinking of the same guy.
I guess that's what
Oh.
people do in California.
He's got kind of the sleazy. Looks like he should have a pencil mustache if he doesn't already.
Yeah.
He passed away.
I don't think this guy passed
Okay,
away.
then we're talking about a different.
Okay,
guy.
sorry. This is the sewage guy. You know, sewage makes the good money.
Especially playing a sewage guy. All right. Finally. I saved this for last.
Give it to me, Randy.
I knew Graham would be excited. The more details on HBO's Watchmen pilot, which is being done by some dude who did a Hulk and Wolverine comic one time.
Dude, come on. Of all the things,
I was trying to
you
find.
could have also said Tomorrowland.
Oh, damn it! I was
Right.
trying to find something, and that was what I could get. Yes, David Lindelof.
I'll say this:
Yeah.
the first couple issues of that Hulk versus Wolverine were fucking awesome.
It was interesting until it took 2 years to come back out.
yeah.
So yeah, he's doing Watchmen. I'm actually, all jokes aside, super looking forward to it. I
Now,
think he's
did you
gonna do a
guys
great
read
job.
the breakdown for this though?
No.
It's weird. Okay.
Okay,
So
hit me.
instead of like the typical characters we would expect, like
Yeah.
Night Owl and Silk Spectre and Rorschach, you have all these different police officers, and it seems like it's a bunch of police officers in Oklahoma, like a little Oklahoma police. What are they called? Where headquarters, I guess.
Police station.
So it's almost like Brooklyn Nine-Nine with the characters, except for like the first couple have regular people names, and the other ones seem to have like code names, almost like they are superheroes, but they're also police officers. So it seems like they aren't doing a direct adaptation, because homeboy, the director Zack Snyder
Zack
already
Snyder.
did
Yeah.
a like 1-to-1 almost adaptation. But he's taking the concept and the kind of the world that's been established there and spinning off from it. Or this is also a bait and switch.
Yeah, this is too weird. I mean, I'm looking at this, and if he's doing that, he's not doing Watchmen at all. Like, it's not even a spin. It's like a completely different story.
Like, I don't know if maybe they threw off like a here's to trick you kind of casting list, or like if you exhibit these personality traits and the press gets a hold of this casting sheet, you can still be the person we want to play Rorschach. Or something like that,
basically, they do say fake out casting calls are not unusual, and I think that is probably what this is. That they're casting for the roles, and they're like, because they're all cops. That's a weird direction to go with Watchmen.
Like, I don't know. HBO has adapted Westworld. They've adapted Game of Thrones. They've adapted Leftovers, and I think for all of those, they've deviated a bit. They've done their own kind of spin on things and done a fantastic job.
They've deviated a bit, but they didn't do a Game of Thrones show that was set in space. This is like doing a Game of Thrones set in space. This is weird.
This is it's like the Fargo of
I'm not buying this. I think this is a fake out.
You know what they could do? Like, if they want to do an actual spin-off in that universe, what they do is they pull a Good Place, and in that first episode, we essentially get the Zack Snyder movie, except at some pivotal point in like the third act of the story, what happens doesn't happen. Like, you change it. Like when Tarantino killed Hitler, all right? Like, everybody knows it's supposed to go a different way, and then you can start your story from there.
I think we are back, guys.
Yay.
So we're going to be talking about Hard Sun and Handmaid's Tale over on Hulu, and then we're going to jump over to HBO for Westworld. We got to talk about that as well.
Yep.
Now, Hard Sun, this was a show that I didn't even know about.
This is that beach bodybuilders show that I watched with the rollerblader guys.
You watched 75 episodes and then realized that what we were talking about?
Yeah. They were 75-second long episodes, though. So
I can only commit to 75 episodes. Randy.
It's like, why did Randy put this on the list? It doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's compelling.
I can't stop watching
I
it.
can't stop watching it, but I don't know why this is on the list.
Their pets
it's
are
like
out of this
Glow if you like men.
So, Hard Sun, which here's a little graphic of it. It is this British sort of mystery crime thriller.
That's like Glow if you like men.
With British accents.
I feel that is
And by glow,
inaccurate.
we mean the glow of the hard sun.
Okay. So
And by men, we mean serial killers.
I need you to explain this because I watched an episode and a half of this.
Okay.
Did you watch all 6?
I watched all 6.
Okay.
I got an episode and a half in.
Okay, so
I'm down for some spoilage.
this is a weird premise. So basically, this is about a couple of like cops. One of them was undercover, I think.
It seemed like she was
Almost internal affairs.
yeah,
kind
internal
of.
affairs, right?
So it opens with her getting the shit beat out of her and her house blown up, and it turns out it was by her kid, her teenage kid who's crazy.
and could totally be her brother.
And could totally be her brother because she had it when she was really young, and there's a story about that too. But basically, she's kind of fucked up. Her partner is like having an affair, and his wife is pregnant, and he's kind of fucked up.
and
they
he
think
might have killed his partner.
they think he
He's
killed his
having an
partner.
affair with his dead partner's wife.
Yeah, and they think he killed his partner, and they've got this deal where she's supposed to be investigating him. So that's all, Shield.
This
type.
could be the show.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I've
then-
watched lots of shows like this that were great.
And it looks like it's all going to be like a procedural kind of thing. And then this kid gets pushed out a window. He has this like USB drive they find, and they find out that it is a revelation that something called Hard Sun, there's going to be an extinction level event in 5 years. There's nothing that can be done about it. The government knows about it, and they don't want to tell anybody. And they're chased by these shadowy guys who they think is like MI5. And then they give it to a journalist. He puts it out there. It gets written up as a hoax, even though they know it's true. And then the show just goes on. Like the whole Hard Sun thing.
So was that just to kick off this, like how this couple gets together?
Yes, that is. It's the kickoff. This is by the writer of Luther.
Yeah,
and you know how Luther was all about sort of fucked up serial killer type stuff.
This seems as dark, and it just makes me never want to go to England.
And the thing is here that the Hard Sun, the reason it's out there is because once it comes out as like a hoax, the crazies believe it, and they're like going out there killing people.
Up stuff,
Like someone's killing people who are good Samaritans because he feels like it's pointless, and someone else is killing people because he thinks it's going to save them from perishing under the Hard Sun. And the entire reason for this big extinction event seems to be to drive the serial killers. And there's also the weird conspiracy element, like the MI5 people are trying to fuck these people over.
Wait, are you suggesting that this was purposely leaked so that you would have a ramp up of serial killers?
The showrunner put it in there. That's in the premise because they wanted to have serial killers. This is a reason for it. It's so weird. And I watched the first two, and I'm like, I don't know if I like this. And then I watched the rest, and I'm like, no, I really like this. It's dark as hell, but it's got some interesting character drama. And the backdrop of the world's going to end, this stuff doesn't really matter, kind of works for it.
Does it now?
Yeah.
Because that was my biggest gripe with the little bit that I did watch.
Yeah.
Is I'm seeing all these actors I like. I fucking love Luther. I mean, that is like up there for me with just like premium television. But then I'm like, oh, so you got this element, on this, and then you bring in this whole thing with the Red Sun and this sci-fi element almost. And I'm just like,
it does feel like nothing matters, right?
Yeah, they're serving too many masters. Like, what's the main takeaway supposed? Because if it is supposed to be this badass gritty crime drama, you don't need the Red Sun in there.
No, I think the ultimate point they're making is that
Hard Sun. That's right.
I think the point they're making is that it's sort of a character point. It's like this is what you do. Even when the world is ending, you try to be a good person. You try to do the right thing up to the end of the world. You try to save as many people as you can, even if ultimately it's going to be futile. It's an interesting point to make. I do think, and I really like the idea of it, but it is a weird thing to throw in because it doesn't belong in the rest of this show.
Yeah,
the rest of the show is a serial killer crime drama, and there's this weird.
It's kind of frustrating that the interesting. I would almost like call it paranormal hook is
sci-fi for sure.
Actually just a gimmick in order to lead into a procedural.
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
I don't know that it's a procedural. It feels more like Broadchurch and those where it's one big story.
Yeah.
Where would you put it against like Luther?
I have not seen that much Luther.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
So
nice.
Does this resolve at the end of the first season, like with a return to the hard
very
world?
much so. It resolves.
Okay,
just like
spoiler territory. The world
Does the
ends?
world just end?
I think so. They don't show you like day after like fire, but it does seem like it's like, oh, well, I guess that's the end. But they do it in a way where they could come back for a second season.
But you got to give those Brits credit for figuring out more creative ways to end shows after one season. This is a good one.
I mean, I think that was part of it for me is that I thought that the acting was really good. The production values were good. The sort of questions that asked were interesting. And it's 6 episodes. In the days of too much TV, I appreciate someone giving me 6 episodes and out.
Yeah, it's like when I was just watching the beginning of it, it felt like yet again another bleak British show. And
it is.
I just can't find myself wanting to watch these anymore.
No,
like,
I get that.
It's never been my bread and butter anyway. I'm much more into anything that has like a sci-fi bent or mythology or whatever like that. But I don't know. It's British crime dramas make me look at London and just go, ugh, what a terrible city to live in.
I was scared
Everything is
shitless.
gray and dismal, and everyone is apathetic to everything.
You just need to watch A Fish Called Wanda.
Is that
Yeah, that's your antidote.
that'll brighten it up?
Yeah.
But like even when I watch like The Office, I'm like, oh, slow.
Yeah.
It's also really depressing. The IT crowd. You guys, do you have any joy over there?
No, joy is forbidden. It interferes.
We shall have no joy.
It interferes with the tea. I will say I don't recommend this to everyone, but I think people who like Luther and like Broadchurch and are looking for more in that vein should probably check it out.
Yeah. All right, well, let's jump over to something a little bit more uplifting.
Yeah.
Handmaid's Tale.
Oh, uplifting,
the
super.
rape show.
God, man.
Man, okay, second season. Did you guys watch the first 2 episodes?
I watched the first 3.
There's a third one out
Yeah,
already?
it came out this week. Oh, man. Third episode's a heartbreaker. I mean,
Wait.
they're all heartbreakers. But
What?
Yeah,
I
third-
thought I just saw the brand new second one, which features Alexis Bledel. But that was the second episode?
that was the second episode. Third episode came out on Monday.
Oh, okay. Well,
Anyway, I won't say any much about it. But yeah, Bleak.
this show is still one of the most beautifully shot shows. The cinematography blows me away. The pacing on this is fantastic. And there's Alexis Bledel, and it's just terrible. And Elizabeth Ann Moss is
Elizabeth Moss is amazing in this. Like, she was great.
Elizabeth Moss, not
Elizabeth
Ann Moss.
Moss. Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you say Mass?
Elizabeth Moss.
Moss. Okay.
He said
okay.
Elizabeth Ann Moss.
Yeah, like
Okay.
Carrie Ann Moss. They're siblings.
Right. And also,
Same
Elizabeth
middle name.
Ann Moss sounds more like the kind of name you'd have in The Handmaid's Tale. Three names.
That's fair.
Very
yeah.
biblical. Anyway, she was great in Mad Men. I liked her on West Wing. This is phenomenal work from her, like above anything else she's done.
She's one of those actresses that just picks all the right projects, it seems.
Yeah.
She's great
Yes.
and knows that her agent is amazing.
Yeah, she's fantastic in this, and the sort of desperation you buy. Like, there's definitely points at which, more than once, in like every episode, where I'm like, you should just kill yourself. You should kill yourself and kill everyone around you. Like, I definitely feel like that in most of this show, and she always gives me a thing like, no, I see why she's fighting. I see why she's still doing this.
So what was interesting about this season is that the first season was the adaptation of the book.
Yeah.
And it pretty much wraps up where the book wraps up, which is pretty terrible because it still wraps up in a horrendous place, right?
Yeah.
She's still off Glen or Offred, and she's trapped
Yeah.
in this little town where religious zealots have taken over in this dystopia, right?
Yeah.
But this is showing this glimmer of hope with her rising up, like, taking a little bit more of a stand, looking to escape and get out of there.
Right. And also, we see a little bit more of what Canada looks like. Little America up there in Canada that's got her husband and her friend like living a relatively normal life. Well, they're mostly worried about the what's the place called? Gilead. They're worried about Gilead invading them.
Right.
But they're living a relatively normal life.
And then we have Alexis Bledel, and we see
The colony.
the colony where another even worse layer of
man.
slavery. I don't even know if I could say worse, but another
it's bad.
terrible layer that is just like impending death.
Yeah.
So they get raped and more stuff at this other place?
Oh no, there's no rape at the other place. There's just forced labor until you die.
Forced
It's more
labor
like communist Russia.
while your body rots to death.
Yeah, because nobody bothers to give you medicine or anything like that.
Like, I don't understand what they're mining. Is it sulfuric something acid?
I don't know. Jesus juice. I don't know what they're mining.
Jesus juice.
Ask Mike Pence. He knows. This is what this show is what Mike Pence's dreams look like.
Man, it's...
Did you
Pretty
hear
terrible.
Terry Gross giving Michelle Wolf shit for her joke about Sarah Huckabee Sanders, saying she looked like
Terry Gross.
the Nurse Ratched character from Handmaid's Tale? What's her name?
She called her Aunt Lydia,
yeah, that.
which is funny because I realized that Aunt Lydia, because Michelle Wolf's joke was like, "What I don't know what you call an Uncle Tom for white women," and I was like, "Is Aunt Lydia actually the term for an Uncle Tom for white women?" Because it kind of works, right?
Well, no, that wasn't the joke. It was.
I know.
She just said so and so looks
Looks like
that.
Aunt Lydia, but now I'm like, it kind of scans. Like maybe that is the term she was looking for.
I don't know. She had a great comeback though. She was like, nobody gave me shit when I made fun of Mitch McConnell's chin.
But yeah, I think that the first episode of this, I'd forgotten just how dark this show could get. Like, I love this show, but it is a harrowing watch. And that first episode back where we see the price she paid for the rebellion that she instigated was rough.
I'm so impressed with how they balance, the extreme bleakness of this world with this glimmer of hope that they continue to thread throughout it so that you don't just give up on the show, right? You still are constantly rooting for her. You see where things might be able to work out, and even when things don't work out, you see how she grits her teeth and has more resolve in the face of fascism, of oppression, and like the scene in the first episode where she's eating the soup and everyone's getting their torture everyone else, and she's left out of it, but she has to still sit there while they get tortured.
Yeah.
I like how she's just like beaten down by this, and then she looks back up and she's like, I'm eating my soup.
Yep.
She just starts going at it again. It's like, I'm going to commit myself to still being strong here. And I'm like,
man, I can't wait till you guys see episode 3. We see a little bit more what the world looks like in Gilead outside of the Handmaid's life, and that's interesting. And there's some big developments. Like it's really interesting to see them spanning the world. I really like what they're doing with season 2 of this. I'm glad there's season 3. It's really dark. It's hard to watch, but it's so good.
well, let's jump over to the show that we've decided we're definitely going to be talking about week after week after week until, I guess, for the next 9 weeks. Westworld is back for its second season.
Yep.
Quick question. What if it gets bad?
Not
Do we
gonna
still
happen.
talk about it?
It's not going to happen.
If it's not going to happen.
but then
you don't
we'll
think so?
But then we'll stop.
You don't think so?
But it's not going to get bad.
Well, I don't think my metric for bad is going to coincide for this. I think other people might grow a little tired of some of the things that Westworld tends to do, like it becoming very complex and kind of hard to follow. And
I've seen people griping about the timelines.
Right, like all the choppiness, and you're like, I'm not sure when this is happening in relation to all these other scenes. Like, I can imagine that getting too much for other people, but I'm so on board. This is such an ambitious project, and I'm in love with what it's doing.
Same. Yeah. I feel like the everyone who wants to streamline the timeline, you'd lose so much what makes the show work.
So, in season 1, we came in and we were kind of given just this cool premise. You know, they're in the Wild West. There's robots. You know, they can shoot shit. They can't get hurt. They have sex with them. Like all this stuff. And we're presented this, but us as like the hardcore TV watchers, we knew there was more going on. All right, and that's when the mystery started to unravel. All right? And it's still unraveling. And I feel like this season, you know, we're going to get into it in a second, but I mean, there's more to chew on than ever. But where's our cool shit, man? Where's that thing in episode 1 where it's like, I thought it was going to be samurai swords.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
You didn't like the man in black shooting it out with a bunch of people, and suddenly he's in the risk of dying? Like, that was great.
Okay, no, that was awesome. In fact, I think every line from these first 2 episodes we've seen have just been like, I'd see that on a hipster tattoo, like, anytime.
You didn't like the revelation that Dolores had been out in our world? I thought that was fantastic.
But here's the thing. All of this is fantastic, but I'm thinking about who's the guy who heard his cousin or whatever talk about it last season, who's coming in, episode 1, and is like, okay, what's going on? Like,
that guy should watch season 1 like a normal person.
That's true.
Season 2 is not. I don't want Westworld season 2 to be made more accessible. I want it to be crazier and more intense because that's the job. You've watched season 1. Season 1 worked nicely. I want to know where they go from here. I don't want to be hand-holding for the guy who comes in on season 2.
See, I don't think any TV should really operate like that anymore. Like, unless it's an episodic show. Like, you know, you can jump in on Brooklyn Nine-Nine in the 3rd, 4th season, whatever. But
even then, there's subplots and stuff that continue. There are jokes that work better if you know the characters.
yeah, but you can kind of pick it up.
Yeah, I'm just saying serial TV has become much more common, and I think we need to be okay with that. I think that's kind of, especially with something like Westworld, like it's so easily available. If you have access to season 2, you have access to season 1.
But here's the thing. I don't think it's necessarily an accessibility point from like actually physically watching the season or like understanding it. I mean, just simply from like a TV viewing aspect. Is this a show that is just for the Easter egg people? The people who want to deep dive, the people who want to have the theories afterwards?
I don't know. I mean, I guess it's possible. I'm looking at it as the same. There's a big audience for Lost, which did a lot of this kind of thing. And I know some people are nervous because they don't like the way Lost ended. And so they're worried that Westworld will do the same thing.
It ended fine. What's the problem?
Well, that's kind of more to my point. A lot of people watch Lost and they're like, ugh, I invested all the time in the show. I didn't like the ending. I liked the ending. But even if I hadn't, and I know people who didn't like the ending, but you still got 3 or 4 seasons of great TV. Just because it didn't resolve in a way you liked, it's still great TV.
Like Miley Cyrus says, it's not about the mountain. It's about the climb.
It's interesting. You're always quoting Miley Cyrus, and always in relation to Lost. It's weird.
You think I got this Miley Cyrus tattoo for nothing? I love her.
And what's weird is Billy Ray Cyrus was your tattoo artist.
Yeah.
That's
my girl.
I love. I don't find this that hard to follow. I actually thought the jumping between time was fairly clear, like when we're seeing what.
Well, and I agree. I guess there's. And I don't want them to explain the show for me again. I don't need one of those 20-minute long last season on Westworld type things. But I feel like in that first episode we had a couple of big reveals, and I'm not gonna lie, a part of me is embarrassed to admit this, but guys, I fell asleep in the second episode.
What? It's crazy.
It was at the end, and I rewatched.
I started dozing on the first episode just because it was so long, and I was drunk.
Man, I watched the second episode because I wanted to see it as soon as it had gone live, and I was busy on Sunday night. I watched it, I think, 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., and I was tired, and I was awake and watched.
Wired for the whole thing?
Glued to the whole thing, yeah. I am completely in love with the show. I think the performances are a big part of it. Like, I think Evan Rachel Wood is doing probably the best work she's ever done in her life. I definitely think Ed Harris is killing it. Jimmy Simpson here is fantastic.
He's got something to play. Okay, that is every time he comes on the screen, I'm like, fuck yeah.
Seeing him, now that we're seeing him develop into the Man in Black, because we're seeing this guy who's like, he had his turn last season, and seeing him sort of face off with his father-in-law and tell him, like, look, don't be an idiot. Look at what we've got here. I thought that was great.
I'm so conflicted, though, because now that we know, like, for sure that he becomes the Man in Black, and that the Man in Black is an abusive villain to all of these, I guess, robots that are somewhat sentient, that we, we didn't realize also that they were as sentient as they are. It's like, you're still kind of a villain, or I know that you're going to become a villain. So it's like seeing Walter White and Heisenberg at the same time. And I'm like, well, do I root for this Walter White when I know the end game of
what's interesting is I would make the Vic Mackey comparison, where it's clear from the outset who the bad guy is, but he's still so damn compelling. You want to watch him succeed and squeeze out of things. So,
but they also frame Jimmy Simpson as like the good guy you want to root for. So it's not Vic Mackey necessarily.
But is he the? I mean, Vic Mackey was the protagonist
in season 1. They did that. Yeah, they're not really doing that this season.
Yeah, I don't think Jimmy Simpson is framed as the good guy either. I think he's framed as
a good guy. I think still. I think that they still try to make him the guy who is sympathetic toward the robots, that he's trying to help capitalize on this world because he wants to explore it more. But I don't think that he has the idea of exploiting and abusing.
See, I think
do you see the clip in episode 2 where he's talking to Dolores and he's like, I can't believe I fell in love with you. You're just a machine.
See, that's the thing I think is interesting. I don't think he thinks he's being abusive to Dolores.
Yeah.
I think he's fucked up, and as he gets older, he gets worse. But I think he fell in love with the robot. He like... that whole thing
parallels with Silicon Valley right now.
He's trying to he's trying to have more of this experience, and it gets worse and worse as he gets older. But I think he's not quite at that villain place right now. He's trying to not rescue the robots for their own sake, but because he thinks there's something there. He's not that different from, say, Arnold, but where Arnold is trying to like advance artificial intelligence, Jimmy Simpson just kind of wants to see if he can actually fall in love with an artificial being. I think I find that really interesting. I do think he is more or less being positioned as a villain in both storylines, but more so the Man in Black. Although the Man in Black is also getting heroic stuff because he's the guy who faces down now what are the killer robots, and he's the one guy who can stand up to them. So whether or not they're in the right morally because they've been treated as slaves, they are murdering people, and he's the like human standing up to them. So you can view him as a protagonist as well.
So we have two opposing philosophies, I guess, in Dolores and now Maeve.
I loved the meeting between the two of them this
and
episode.
we finally get them to kind of cross paths with each other.
And Maeve's like, fuck off.
I've also noticed something else. So with Dolores and Teddy, the way that they act as robots is very different from Maeve and her companions. I feel like
somebody's still programmed.
Yeah,
somebody's still programming.
Dolores, if she isn't like running a programming, she is still like doing the personality or doing something like Maeve is the only one that I buy like, oh, she's definitely off the tether.
Well, there's the thing is that we looked at the coding from last season, and Dolores coded Maeve. Like, right? Isn't that what Les pointed out to us? Like the Dolores code, you could see on a screen that Dolores had coded Maeve to rebel, and then now she's rebelling against that programming.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I would say that they both are still coded. Like, we saw that Maeve when, like, in the last season when they were checking her vitals, it's like, oh, you're still a program, and I can just see that everything's ramped up.
Yeah.
So she's still tethered to that programming,
right?
Even though it's now at a point where she can start acting with what simulates free will.
So she's still the madame at the brothel,
and the mom. That's the thing. She's both of those.
Well, she seems to she's unlocked all of her memories, and now she has a connection to all of them.
Because when I look at that character, I just see Psycho Robot. Kill a robot.
I like where they're going with Teddy too. Where I thought Teddy was going to be the conscience. And they're quickly developing him into the like, oh no, he's starting to realize how screwed this all is, and he's going to maybe go a little crazier than Dolores.
Did you get that?
I did. I got the sense when he started shooting, I was like, oh, okay, maybe he's just like going on. It felt like he was going native to me.
I thought like he's just, he's got her back and what she says, but like he's still giving her looks of like, are you sure about this?
I like how they're basically doing sort of a zombie thing where she basically goes in, kills robots, and raises them again as her army.
Oh, man. Awesome. She had this one line where she told this guy, if you're looking for the favor of God, I suggest you, try to get me under, or something like that, where it's like, he ain't listening. Oh, no, I killed God. That's what she goes.
Yeah.
She goes, I killed God. You might want to get my favor now.
Yeah, that was great.
It was also cool to see Jonathan Tucker, who you might recognize from Justified in the last season and Black Donnelly's, among some other things. But to see him here at like getting a role like him, and then Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, briefly.
Yeah,
is that the guy from
another cameo?
Breaking Bad.
Gus from Breaking Bad.
Oh yeah, I was thinking of the guy from Grand Theft Auto and Walking Dead, who he plays like one of the outlaws.
No, we're talking about that great actor from Terra Nova. Was it Terra Nova?
It wasn't Terra. It was
what was the other one?
Revolution.
Revolution.
It was the one show filmed here in Austin. About all the power going out.
It was even worse than Terra Nova.
I also loved seeing a scumbag brother whose name I'm forgetting. The dude who
Jigsaw,
the guy from Delos. Whatever his name is, Mr. Delos, where we see him interact with all of them out in the world.
That was one of the coolest scenes. I thought that was like
so good.
The best scene. And I'm pretty sure like I knew what was going on when he walked into that scene.
I was pretty sure, yeah.
I was like, okay, it's the whole gimmick is that all of them are going to be robots.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that she wasn't. That it was going to be.
Well, she isn't, right? She is a robot.
Is
Weren't
she?
they all robots? I think we're all robots.
Like even her?
Yeah.
I was thinking like I think she is, but
unless she's the human, unless she's like the Arnold who they based Bernard on.
Her and the guy that came in with her, they were both robots.
They were both robots.
The whole thing, right?
Yeah. I thought that was really a cool moment, and I like that we're starting to see development of like that Jimmy Simpson's scene where we start to see like, oh, so what they were planning to do, like what else is this for? And Les has talked about this numerous times. That there's like several levels of what's going on. Like there's what the park is for its guests. There's what the management is using the guests for, and that's what the bosses are using the management for. It's like there's all these levels of what's going on,
right? And
we're starting to see like, it's not as banal as like blackmail as I thought it might be. It is a like Facebook Cambridge Analytics kind of thing. Like they just are going to get all this data, see people when they don't know you're looking at them, and be able to like do whatever you want with them.
I have 3 like holy shit, what the fuck type theories to where the show could go.
All right,
and you kind of nailed the first one, like that all of the hosts are actual people or were people at one point,
and they've duplicated them.
And yeah, they needed like some bit of their conscience in order to duplicate them. Theory 1. Theory 2. All right. Outside of Westworld and Samurai World and all that, it's actually post-apocalypse, all right? The Earth has become uninhabitable, and the only place with fresh air now is Westworld, so the humans are going to attack, but the robots are going to fight them off, even though the robots don't need oxygen. And then I had a third one. What was my third one? Oh, yeah. So, last season, all right, we see Jimmy Simpson, and then we learn, spoilers for season 1, then we learn he is the Man in Black, correct?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, this season, we are introduced again to Jimmy Simpson, the young Man in Black, or the Man in Black's son.
No.
Yeah, they could if they wanted to. Jimmy Simpson could play the young Man in Black as well as the Man in Black's son.
The timeline doesn't match.
Exactly. They're going to fuck with us.
No.
Every time.
Here's
I don't
the
know
thing.
about this.
For that third theory, I think that's crazy. For the second theory, we've seen the outside world. We saw the outside world like
In the past or the future.
You think it went to shit?
Seats,
I don't know.
theory 3.
It's interesting. I don't buy it. I'm not buying your theories, Kyle.
I kind of like the second one, the idea that like the world outside becomes messed up and they try to come here and the robots are like, no, this is Robo Island.
But we saw like the troops from the first episode from the
Yeah.
Chinese mainland.
I don't think that
it's a bit of a stretch.
I think it could be like in the future.
In the future?
kind of
Maybe.
thing. I also liked the idea that like we were discussing this a little bit last week. This idea of like, did Robert Ford and Arnold plan for the robots to take over? Like, was this kind of their goal?
Yeah.
And what we see in this episode, that it doesn't seem like that was Robert's goal at all, right?
No, I don't think
But
they were thinking that far ahead.
it does seem like Arnold wanted to
Yeah.
some extent. Like, he's sort of hinted at, like, you guys should be the ones that control this world when he's
Yeah.
talking to Dolores.
Yeah.
Well, that's because he's a stinking robot.
But he wasn't at that point.
No, but that
that's
was
true.
Arnold before
Yeah.
it became Bernard.
I don't know if I think it may be sort of a fatherly guilt kind of thing. Like he created these things and that humans were not treating them well, and he thinks that they need to become sentient. I don't think he thinks they need to take over, but maybe so. I don't know. I think they definitely. I almost think, that Robert and Bernard were both more philosophical and scientific about it. Like I think they just wanted to see what would happen. And they weren't too worried about the consequences. But I don't know.
Okay, so my last question is in regards to that ending scene of episode 2. We have Dolores talking about how she has a secret weapon because she has a memory of the one thing that like can help them win this war against the humans. And what it is the terraforming device, I guess. I don't know what to call it, but basically the machinery that is able to reshape Westworld and build new landscapes within it.
Is that what she was referring to?
I wasn't
think
sure.
so.
Like that's what we end up
So-
seeing. Like is that big old churning machine that's like tearing up the
So
mountain.
here's how I interpreted that scene. Jimmy Simpson goes, "Hey, have you ever seen anything so beautiful?" And we see the terraforming machine. All right, and then the Man in Black makes a reference to the worst thing I ever created. I think in that scene we are seeing what will be there, but they're just now terraforming it. That's not the actual machine. It's what he's building with the machine, and it's still a mystery as to this thing there.
So here's a question for you guys. Since this is going to go season 3, how much Westworld do you need for this to be okay? Do you need Westworld in every episode for it to be Westworld?
I guess I don't need it to be in every episode. I like Westworld to. I think it's just kind of like an adventure show.
As long as there's robots.
Yeah, as long as it's robots.
And you can have sex with them and you can kill them. Not in that order, though.
All right, guys, we are back, and it's time for some listener questions. So if you guys like us on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/tvdudes,
TV
once a
Dudes.
week, you guys can ask us questions. Randy puts up a little post. I need to give you new graphics for our new redesign, right?
I know.
First question, though, comes to us from our buddy, Alec Miracle. He says, well, dudes, I'm about to finish Twin Peaks tonight. Not looking for a full-on review, but just your thoughts on Twin Peaks as a whole, which is interesting because I think of the three of us, did any of us watch it?
I tried watching the first season, couldn't get into it.
Yeah, we just happened to be the three that didn't watch it. I know Les watched it.
Yeah.
Ashley might have a little
She
bit.
might have. I'm
When
not
you
sure.
get Nate Bliss in here, he's a Twin Peaks freak.
Yeah.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
He's
But
a
yeah.
Twin Peakian.
I believe we are all Twin Peaks agnostics. We don't hate it, just not our thing.
Yeah.
I never ended up watching the original, and I couldn't see any point of jumping in now. That would be like someone watching Westworld season 2. In the first
And that's
season.
just crazy.
Guys, give me a break.
Oh no, it's not you. It's
I
it's
love
this-
Westworld.
It's this hypothetical season 2 watcher I have a beef with.
All right, next question comes to us from Jonathan Hupnagel, who says, Mighty TV Dudes.
Mighty Jonathan.
The Infinity War trailer explains that. All right, is this going to be some spoiler stuff going on here?
You know my opinion. We'll talk about when we get to our Infinity War Patreon.
Thanos demands your silence.
Let's see.
Jump down to his actual question.
What's his actual question?
Many shows have divided adults and children, women and men, living and dead. I wish I could banish all the corrupt, evil, and hate filled into a rapidly rising post-apocalypse of their own creation. Meanwhile, the rest of us band together, fix global warming, and build a Star Trek utopia. If that were the plot of a TV show, it would have to be The Rest of Us. Though I tend to think the more interesting story is over on the bad side of reality. What TV shows would work well with such a great divide? How would you divide it up, and why?
So, like, split, like,
The good from the
saying,
bad.
like, here's good people, here's bad people, or, like, dividing things up.
Exactly.
Kind of like The Good Place.
Kinda like
The Good Place would work great.
The Good Place would work out. Yeah.
Turns out.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Would anyone go? Would Scully? What's his name? Scully and who's his partner?
They'd be terrible, yeah.
They'd go to the bad place.
As would Chelsea Peretti's character.
Oh, for sure, yeah. Would everybody else go to the good place, or is like Jake not going to make it? And Amy has to save him.
It's a tough, angry girl. She's a
Diaz?
toss-up. I don't know.
You think Diaz?
Maybe?
Diaz is a heart of gold. I think Diaz makes it.
Yeah, but she also is, like, with Jason Mantzoukas, and that guy's just
That guy's
terrible.
definitely going to the bad place.
Right.
And no matter what's weird about Jason Mantzoukas, people don't know this, but every show he's in, he has weird wind chimes for genitals. Every show, that's just the thing he has.
So did we just decide that, like, we're not doing... We're just saying, like, this is a good place and bad place
I think so. Yes.
versus,
Well,
like, a snap and...
the notion is, yeah, you go to a good place or a bad place, and you follow. And would the good people? How would the good people build their utopia?
Right.
I think Jake goes to the bad place. I think it screws the whole thing up because Amy would want to rescue Jake, but Jake's not a guy who can get the good place going. There's going to be a lot of Die Hard in the good place. Is all I'm saying.
You know, I think a great show for this would be How I Met Your Mother, except the premise now isn't How I Met Your Mother. It's like he's meeting the mother,
Yeah.
but like whenever he wants, he can snap his fingers, and then he like switches dimensions. So in like one dimension, she's like kind of a goody-goody, but she's a little prudish. But then in the other dimension, she's a freak in the sheets, but she's also kind of like you're the
I think
worstish.
you're talking about the show Awake, where every time he goes to sleep, he wakes up in the other reality where either his wife's alive or his son is alive.
But Awake was only 2. Kyle is suggesting that basically whenever he wants to change moms, he keeps changing, and he has more and more different moms. Like he meets a new mother in every episode. I would watch that. I would watch a show where basically somebody was like could sliding door themselves every episode. Like could change. You could go back. What if you could go back and change like the points in your life? You're like, I wonder what would have happened if I'd actually gone on a second date with that girl. What would have happened if I changed that job? Like if you could go and like keep changing your reality.
So every time you hit the slider button, your wife is different, and
Yeah.
you have to like figure out this new marriage you have.
I watched this show with this movie with Adam Devine that popped up on Netflix because it
Yeah?
was recommed to me.
The guy from
And it-
Maroon 5?
Adam
no, that's
Devine?
Adam's Levine.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, this is a guy from Workaholics.
Oh, yeah.
And the basic premise was Groundhog Day, but for a guy that really wanted to date this girl
Yeah,
that
yeah.
ended up marrying this other guy.
Yeah.
And it starts becoming pretty messed up.
Yeah.
He just starts manipulating like her in order to get her in bed. And it's like kind of like I watched this movie, I'm like,
See,
I don't
yeah.
know how I feel about someone being able to like keep easing their way into
Yeah.
like lying to someone in order to get their like end goal.
See, the thing I like about this, I like the idea of basically being able to go back and pick points in your life where you could go, but you like wouldn't necessarily be able to like know everything you knew.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
You just go and you at some point would like snap back and you could decide which reality you want to stay in, but like you don't have all the knowledge of the other reality. You just get to try all these different realities.
Well, and the thing is, it becomes a metaphor for like habitual daters or like
Yeah.
people who are just in like this endless like cycle of monogamy. Because the character, when we're introduced to him at the beginning, he's in a relationship, but he's able to just change it. So, but
Yeah.
once he is keeps changing it all the time. That's when he realizes, oh, I kind of miss my old life.
This is a good show. We should pitch this at the ATX Fest.
Heck yeah!
I mean, it's no adult babies, which is still the best show I've ever pitched. Except for the one where they're married to themselves.
If it's not adult babies, I'm not watching it.
Oh, what if it's adult babies who can change their timeline?
And their diapers.
That's the tagline. Workshopping it.
Not afraid to fail here.
All right, guys. Next question comes to us from Ross Brown, who says, what are some examples of characters who were kept around in a show due to fan service, or that the cast probably just like having the actor around? First that comes to mind is Malcolm Merlin from season 4 of Arrow, and Kilgrave from Jessica Jones. It popped up in like season 2 as well.
I love this question. I'm surprised we've never gotten it before because this is such a huge problem, especially in genre shows.
Like characters that probably should have died.
They fall in love with a villain, or they fall in love. It's usually a villain, and they want to keep him around. So they take out everything that makes him a villain. They make him toothless. Spike and Buffy is a great example. Spike should never have come back. They ruined the character and ruined Buffy by extension by adding him in.
Benjamin Linus was actually kind of good for most of it.
Yeah.
I thought by like having him just be a lot more complex, although they did have to kind of defang him a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. There's definitely, there's definitely some other ones. Spike is the one that comes right to mind, but the Buffyverse definitely did a lot of that kind of thing where you just let your villains go. Like, it is okay to have a great villain who goes away.
Right.
Because trying to bring him back, yeah, Merlin's a great example. Like that, he's a great villain, but Ollie looks stupid as hell because he keeps letting him live and he keeps fucking up his life.
I feel like Walking Dead did this quite a bit with certain characters where like that character should be dead. They drag things down, and I get that you must like the actor, but like you're not writing that character in any interesting way, and they should die.
Right. You have to be okay with letting characters go, especially if they're good, because that gives their deaths meaning. That gives their stories meaning. Like if you have somebody who dies and you remember their death, then that really works. If Charlie had resurfaced in Lost, it would have sucked all life out of that story.
Resurfaced, too. I see. Yeah. That's good.
I mean, let characters die. Let them have their arcs. You can always make more characters. You can always get more actors. And those actors are going to find other work. It's okay.
Gotta admit, though, I'm a little bit disappointed you spoiled part of Lost.
God damn it, Grant.
I thought you were all about no spoilers.
Not for Lost. That doesn't count.
Okay. Kyle Volti is our last question. He says, hey, TV dudes, describe the show that they would make if the showrunners from Legion and Westworld joined forces. And how long could you watch it before it melted your brain?
Not even an episode. That show would be complex as hell.
Gosh.
Bonus points, he says, if you describe the special episode guest directed by David Lynch.
Oh, Jesus.
I was like, Terry
What a
Gilliam
bonkers
needs to
question.
direct this crossover episode. But yeah, David Lynch would probably be even better.
Oh,
But yeah,
man.
I feel like
Or
that's
Michelle
kind of what
Gondry.
Twin Peaks was. was the complete, like, I couldn't make sense of it.
I mean, I feel like Legion is pretty cerebral in plot already.
So
Like,
you'd have
and visually mind bonkers.
You'd have to have a cowboy line dancing scene then for this Legion Westworld crossover.
A little dance off.
Okay,
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what? You know what I want?
outfits.
You know what I want this show to be? I want them to do Legion of Superheroes from DC Comics, which takes place in the 31st century. So you get your robots in your
You've
future
been on this kick lately.
from Westworld, and you get the name Legion and superheroes, and you make it. But it's like teenagers of the future, but it's like in that Westworld Legion style. So like you never know what's going on. Are they really in the future? Are these kids all from a mental hospital? Like you could do that. You could do that. I don't really want this, but I think that'd be a good blending of those two.
I don't know about this at all. All right, guys. I think this is a good point to go ahead and end things here for the week.
Yep.
I guess we made it through our YouTube stream too. We had a couple of technical difficulties. If anyone was watching the YouTube, the audio I know cut out once or twice on a few things. My apologies there. If you guys are listening, hopefully everything sounds okay.
Yeah, we haven't even recorded. This could be 2 hours of Baba Booey over and over again somehow.
We
Weird
don't
audio
know.
glitch.
Baba Booey!
I just know there's chords everywhere, and I'm confident I messed something up. But yeah, if you guys end up getting a chance, if you want to pop over to our YouTube page, it is over at, I should have had this like up already, but it's at youtube.com/TheTVDudes. If you guys go over there and you want to check out our episode and give us any feedback on what you think of the live show. That's useful for us. Once again, we're just kind of playing around with this, seeing what we can do and what we can't do. Learning experience completely here, but we appreciate the feedback. And we'll be back next week to talk about, is it next week the comedy one?
FX.
Oh, next week's FX, man.
Atlanta.
I got some catching up to do.
Yeah.
And the oil one, Trust.
Yep, Trust.
I went on Twitter earlier today.
And you were called a beta cuck by a Nazi.
Always. That's just, I get it.
Yeah.
It's fair. It's a fair criticism of me, I guess. No, but I posted about like all these different shows that I'm still trying to watch. Hard Sun, Handmaid's Tale, Legion, Atlanta, Barry, Silicon Valley, Westworld, Last Week Tonight, The Looming Tower, Lost in Space, Trust, Counterpart, The Expanse, AP Bio, Archer, Americans. That's just a few that I'm so far behind on. I haven't been able to catch up on everything.
Yeah, I was trying to do some catch up this week. It was hard.
And there's this guy, Randy, who keeps giving me new homework assignments. I'm never going to get a break.
Yeah, it's true. Somebody's
Anyway.
got to keep you on track.
We're going to go ahead and call things here. And Randy, let's talk about Infinity War as soon as we're done with this.
All right, let's do it.
I need my fix. All right, until next week.
TV Dudes out!
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Electric Sweater Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and electricsweater.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.